Greetings, family. This is Bomani Tyehimba with my great sister Hesta Baker. Welcome to Pan-Africanism towards Nationhood, and we're here to talk about Africa-world connection. Greetings and good day, my wonderful sister. You're there in the beautiful country of Liberia. How you feeling today?
Yes. Thank you so much, Bomani. It's so exciting to be able to talk to you and just have a conversation about our dear Africa and how we make the African connection globally. So it's exciting. I'm glad to be here.
Well, perfect. For those who are not familiar with you, if you'd like to do a nice introduction of yourself and all the works you've been doing and your background.
Okay. So my name is Hesta Baker, and like you said, I'm from Liberia, and I'm a publisher. I began in the field of communications a zillion years ago. I won't say how many years ago because we'll leave it there. But basically, moved to America at a young age and studied a lot in the US. I mean, did most of my education in the US and including college and what have you. But my career did not start off to do what I'm doing today. It started off as a pre-med major. I was studying to be a doctor. And the light went off in my junior year of college, where I realized that I didn't really want to go into that field. I wanted to do something that would be a bit more impactful in another field, but not definitely not in medicine. Medicine is good, but for me, I said no, that's not my calling. Anyway, decided to shift to communications. At that time I had, well, not even shift to communications, shift to magazine publishing. There was a woman that was the editor in chief at the time for Essence magazine, Susan Taylor, and she was my icon. And so my idea was, I want to do what Susan Taylor is doing. I want to have a magazine publishing company. I want to be able to tell stories. And began publishing in America. Started with a magazine called Style Magazine. Was head of market for Georgia for a company called The Guest Informant. We published the hardbound books that went into the hotel rooms. And, it kind of got me away because I started in newspaper and then eventually went into the magazine side of publishing. And my journey has been an interesting one, working in the US market and working in the tourism field. It's always exciting because tourism to me is really, really exciting because it gives you a chance to meet so many people. You get a chance to travel. It's a dynamic field. You get to see beautiful places. And so I've always, loved it. And eventually, the reason I'm doing what I'm doing today is because I saw a need. There was an emptiness in Africa in terms of our storytelling. And I believe that we all have our part to play in telling the true Africa story. Africa has been pigeonholed into the 1700s, and it's about time we let the world know the true story from our perspectives. So that's why I'm here.
Well, Esther, appreciate the wonderful introduction and happy to see you elevate towards this wonderful Africa world connection, which is what we're always trying to get people more open to. And that's why we label this energy of Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. And we're here to talk about our Africa world connection. So we're right on point and the good energy. And in a few, we'll also share your magazine and you can go through it and talk about it when we do screen sharing. So family. We're here to get you connected to the African continent. Now, also, if you could share some of your background of the different places that you have traveled to, since we're talking about the Africa World Connection.
Okay, so in terms of Africa, of course, I'm in Liberia. So next door to Liberia is Sierra Leone. So of course, I've been to Sierra Leone. The first time I went to Sierra Leone, I think I must have been about 7 years old. And, going from seven to where I am now and seeing the transformation, has been phenomenal. Cote d'Ivoire, Abidjan, absolutely lovely city, love it. Love the energy of Abidjan, love the modernness plus the traditional side of Abidjan. Just absolutely beautiful, stunning city. The Gambia, gone into whatchamacallit, Banjul, love Banjul, love all of the going to James Island, the Kunta Kinte, family land, Jufure and all of that in the Gambia. I've been to Ghana, Accra, hung out there. But I was staying in Accra, I think for about 2 months at one time. Really lovely city, lovely country, absolutely love Ghana. Been into, of course, Nigeria as well. That's the king of Africa. It's that's our most populated country and also our biggest economy. So been to the capital city, Abuja, also to Lagos. I've been to South Africa, Johannesburg, and actually I'm heading for Algeria in on this weekend. So I'm really excited about that. Been into Morocco. So it's just different countries around Africa, and I'm continuing my sojourn.
Well, perfect. Yeah, you mentioned a lot of countries in West Africa. You also mentioned Southern Africa, and also you mentioned Northern Africa. Have been to anywhere in East Africa? Example, Ethiopia, Tanzania, Kenya.
Not yet.
Oh,
So
you'll love it.
yeah, I think actually the next issue, well, no, I'm not, I think the next issue is South Africa. We will be getting out to East Africa and getting into East Africa sometime next year.
Well, perfect. Excellent family. And this is my Senegal soccer jersey representing 21 years from 2004 to now, traveling to the African continent. So that's why you see me with this special colors on. And it also represents Africa World Connection, which we're going to get into. So, Hessa, would you like for me to share your magazine and we talk about your magazine and talk about the things that you're working on?
Absolument.
And family, and this is our website, Africa for the Africans .org, where you can find our connection, which we'll definitely get more into. Right, so this is Travel and Life, Africa premiere issue. Do you
Yes.
want to share any details as far as the magazine, how long you've been doing it, and what you have in store for the future? And then we can also flip through some of the pages.
Okay. So, in terms of this magazine and why the magazine, I kind of, started to talk a little bit about it, but I wanted to wait until you had it on the screen. So, if you look at the cover of the magazine, yes, you see a destination, but you also see a model. You also see the fashion. You see the mask in her hands, in her hand. The reason that we're doing all of this on the cover of the magazine is because it's really important that we showcase not just the beauty of the destination. Africa is known for its landscapes. We have possibly the most incredible landscapes, if not the best. I know we are amongst the best in the world in terms of landscapes. So I wanted to show the human of the math, the sculpting, and what have you. And then, of course, to showcase the destination. On that issue, we also feature other other places other destinations. You see Algiers, you see Seychelles, you see Capo Verde, because the magazine is covering the continent. So the reason for that is we feel that many times Africa is seen from one or two regions. Normally when we think of Africa, we do think of East Africa. We think of the safaris in Kenya, we think of the safaris in Tanzania, a lot about safaris. Also, the second destination that we tend to give a lot of that has been able to get a lot of publicity is South Africa, especially Cape Town. So outside of that, the rest of Africa somehow gets left out in terms of the mainstream media. So this time we wanted to, take it into a destination that we really think is absolutely stunning. So we went into Freetown. And so we featured Freetown as our cover. You also see Gambia advertising. We make a lot of our revenue through ad sales. So the Gambia, did the inside front cover. Okay. Want to move a little? Okay, so the pages are a little off,
Let me go
but
back and
we can. Okay, all right. So
yeah, so that's your cover right there.
that's
And
the cover.
that's the next page.
Mm-hmm. We will call the masthead. Then we can keep going. Uh, the letter, publisher letter. And so we have a section called iconic places. So if you go back, Bomani, it's so what we do with the iconic places is these are destinations that are really iconic in terms of Africa. So that particular shoot is actually in the Namib Desert. The Namib Desert is the oldest desert in the world, and it borders several countries. South Africa, you have Namibia, Angola. I believe it's about two or three or four countries that the Namib Desert um, covers. But it's an absolutely stunning desert that's also on the water. So as you're in the desert, you also are looking at the ocean on the other side. So it's quite an interesting desert. Okay,
Great mountain view.
and that is Cape Town. Like I said, Cape Town gets a lot of that's, near Table Mountain. Okay, we can continue. But again, our idea is to take you into Africa. So we have a section called Africa Explorer. And one of the things, since the cover story was about Freetown, and Freetown, if you know anything about Freetown, one thing you'll know about it is the landscape. Freetown has one of the most amazing landscapes you can imagine in this world. It's out of this world, and it's very hilly. So we also wanted to feature, along with Freetown's hilly landscape, wanted to figure out what capital cities in Africa were possibly at the highest peak. So we featured the top five capital cities that are the tallest, that are all mountainous, and towering over all of them is Addis Ababa in Ethiopia. So Addis Ababa is the most mountainous of all the capital cities in Africa. But interestingly enough, all of the tall capital cities are primarily in East Africa. So you have
Yes.
Madagascar. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Rwanda, Kigali is also, very, very, very mountainous capital. Um, Eritrea, Asmara is also a very high capital city. So yeah, so we wanted to also showcase those. Okay. Yeah, you want to say something, Bomani?
Oh
Okay.
no, I'm just sharing this wonderful magazine, and we just talking about the magazine while we talk about our Africa World Connection. And you're
Okay.
sharing so many different countries where people may never even heard of about certain
Yeah.
countries, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to educate people about the beauty of Africa and show them different just highlights of all parts of Africa. Because people are usually telling me that they see this strange images, but as long as they keep on looking at images and information from people who are trying to oppress them, they'll never get the right story. So we're here to
Mhm,
deliver the
mhm.
right story
Okay.
based on our experience.
Yes. So this is Sao Tome and Principe, and also another beautiful, beautiful destination. This is actually a UNESCO World Heritage destination. Known for its, I mean, not for its greenery and biodiversity. So, but also just stunning, another stunning destination. Not a well-known destination, but definitely one that is worth visiting, simply because it has a lot of history, a lot of culture, but it's also very serene, just a very beautiful, serene destination.
Yes, and I'm almost guarantee almost nobody ever heard about this African country. Like
Yes, Sao
literally,
Tome and Principe. Yes.
and tell them the exact location.
Okay, so Sao Tome, oh my goodness, Sao Tome is more towards the central, you're talking more central Africa. I have to get my bearings on that a little bit. But I believe it's more central Africa. But I'll get back to you on that in a second.
So people gonna probably ask, is it below Cape Verde? Is it below
No, it's not. No, it's not below
Guinea-Bissau?
Cape Verde.
Because they're gonna be looking for like the western part of Africa out in the ocean somewhere.
Mm. Oh, you mean for Sao Tome? No, I mean Cape Verde, by itself, definitely is Western Africa. But Sao Tome is more central, like your Central Africa, where you have like Central African Republic, the Cameroon, DRC. So it's more towards that end.
Off to the western side, out in the water.
Yeah. Yeah,
There
it's a small island. It's in the Gulf of Guinea.
you go.
And it's actually, I think it borders Gabon. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them in the right era because when people start looking for certain things, and it's good because
Hmm.
we're trying to get more people to look at maps, like like so we're trying to give them an idea that this part of Africa
Hmm.
versus the eastern part, and I'm telling them you're
Right.
talking about an incredible continent with all geographic aspects that
Hmm.
no other parts of the world has. You're talking about from incredible islands to mountains
Hmm.
to incredible cities, towns, you name it. History, movements, revolution. It's just the most incredible continent on this entire planet. So that's why we had to
Yes, it
connect
is.
with the
And
family.
100%, Bomani, 100%. Islands like Sao Tome and Principe, right? These are small islands, right? And so, I mean, Sao Tome and Principe are the main islands, the two main islands in this area. But then you also have a lot of smaller islands that are all around, so you go into the destination. Definitely, you want to go to Sao Tome, you want to go to Principe. But then you want to also explore, other islands that are also there. Similarly like Seychelles. When you go into Seychelles, it's a similar situation. You have Mahi, and then you have the smaller islands. So but it's definitely one of those destinations that you don't hear much about, but absolutely stunning destination. Yeah.
There you go, family, and these are live photos. So we're connecting you to Africa, showing you all aspect of it. So let's continue around the world of Africa.
Hmm. Yes. Okay, so we go into our math. So one of the things we try to do is to also talk about the culture and the traditions. So in this issue, we featured masks from different countries around Africa. So the larger picture is Nigeria. I'm not looking at the magazine. So, but I believe that it is a Nigeria. I believe a Yoruba mask.
Right, so Hesta is about to go get the magazine so she can flip through it with us. But yes, family, this is the incredible culture of
Mhm.
Africa. And that's why we
Yes, yes,
specialize in Africa, because we want you to know your history, your connection, that
absolutely.
this is a proud connection. Don't let nobody else tell you anything different.
Yes,
All right,
yes.
yes. All right, so
So it is a
it said
Yoruba
it said
mask.
Yoruba mask, yes.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, and then the others, we also featured a mask from Angola. We did one we looked at, I think, Kenya. Yeah, we did the mask from Kenya as well. The Maasai, a lot of people hear about the Maasai warriors and the Maasai culture. So we also featured that. We also did something from Tunisia. But it's once again, our mission is to not just focus on one region. So we went west, we went east, we went north, and we went south, to showcase masks from the five regions of Africa. There are five regions. The central is also, many times we forget about Central Africa, but it
Never
is,
never been there,
it is
but
one of the regions.
I'll get there one day. That's the only region of Africa I've never been to.
Oh, okay, okay.
But
Yeah.
talking about the central region of Africa, the fifth region, what are some of the highlight countries that because people will say, well, they're known that the center part of Africa is known to be um, conflict oriented, just to say something a little easy. What are some of the countries that someone could be uh, open to if they want to visit Central Africa? And what are really some of the countries in Central Africa? Because some people may say, well, Angola is Central Africa, and some people may say Angola is not Central Africa. It's one of those things where sometimes we don't always know what exactly represents Central Africa outside of the Congos.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's interesting because there are nine countries that they consider to be Central African, but the ones, of course, Central African Republic is naturally Central Africa. We all know about the DRC, yes, which when you talk about conflict, so DRC definitely is Central Africa. That's Democratic Republic of Congo. Then you also have the Republic of Congo, itself. Like I said earlier, Gabon, you have Sao Tome and Principe. Um, Sometimes we'll want to bring in, Rwanda, Burundi as central, but those are considered more Eastern Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned Angola. Angola can be considered central as well. Definitely Cameroon. A lot of them are French-speaking countries. Chad, we see here Chad and Upper Volta. Well, Chad, another beautiful country. Many times we hear about the Chebe. that women are now using on their hair, it comes from Chad, you know, the chebe powder that a lot of women are now getting into.
And one of the last countries that I hear a different variation from is Zambia, which I
We
can.
as Africans have to, we as Africans have to understand something. You see, the DRC that is so into so much conflict. The DRC is possibly one of the wealthiest countries you want to come across in Africa. The DRC is home to so much, including that Congo Basin. The Congo Basin is the second largest rainforest in the world, next only to the Amazon Basin. But the Amazon Basin and the Congo Basin are interconnected because the Amazon Basin, according to many sources, rely on the Congo Basin for its own survival. You know, you talk about when we talk about carbon and how the whole world, when we talk about global warming and all of that, the DRC contributes a lot in because it's the largest carbon basin in the world. It's more than it can absorb more carbon than the Amazon. So it's so sad when we hear about the conflicts in these regions, but sometimes we have to go deeper to see why. You know, why there are, why the conflicts. You know, and when you think about the wealth of the Congo, then you understand where the problem is coming from. But the other countries, I mean, they're pretty, I mean, nothing, I mean, Angola recently hosted the Africa Surf Competition, and it was extremely successful. And Angola is, an oil-rich country as well. Angola has some of the most beautiful places, Tondavala, it all is also a part of the Namib Desert. But Angola is a modern, beautiful country. So we need to, Gabon is another oil-rich country, another beautiful country. Also, extremely, extremely modern. And so people need to just get out there and experience these places. No, they're not in conflict. And so when people talk about Central Africa, yes, we're thinking the DRC, but the DRC still has a lot of tourism. So we have to ask ourselves, who's going? Why?
Yes.
Why? And then we can try to answer some of those questions.
There you go, family. And one of the other things is someone may say is Zambia Central Africa, and
And
which is more Southern Africa, but I was like, it's close. It's right there, right there connected to DR Congo. But yeah, that's it's always difficult to orientate what's definitely Central Africa. But I appreciate you sharing and breaking it down as we look to this educate more of our people around the global geographical specs of Africa, uh, the incredible continent.
absolutely.
Right. So let me see. All right.
Mm,
So if you can share more about
that's Capo
this
Verde.
festival, this looks.
That's Capo Verde. They love carnivals. And, of course, they speak Portuguese.
I thought it was Brazil
And
at first, but I know we're talking about Africa, so I know it wasn't Brazil, but it looks similar to an energy in Brazil, from my travels in
yes,
Brazil.
yes. Because Cabo Verde is known, and this is the Mindelo Festival, but which is their competitive festival. I mean, it's competition. Who's the best? Who can get the best? Who has the best costumes? Who has the best moves? When you talk to people from Cabo Verdeans, they will tell you it is the best. I love how they speak with so much confidence that their festival rivals any festival anywhere in the world. And they really come out for the Mindelo Festival. And their thing is to really get the world to Mindelo, to Cabo Verde in February. February, March is when it's normally held. And again, it's just party. It's nonstop partying. Think Louisiana. Think what you call it? My mind just went blank. In Louisiana, with all the beads and what have you.
Mardi Gras.
It's been Mardi Gras. Think another form of Mardi Gras. It's just party, all parties. Everybody's competing. The schools, and they begin preparing these costumes like a year in advance. and preparing for this festival. So it's a big deal.
It's excellent, very colorful. But there you go, family. So
Yeah.
you're talking about the most diverse part of the entire world you can ever imagine. There's no one thing Africa represent. And that's what I'm
No.
always trying to get people to this see what we're talking about. I mean, from the darkest dark to the lightest light to
Mhm.
all variants of different colors and geographical scope, land,
Yeah.
mountains, sea, beaches, every single food that you can think that grows anywhere,
Mhm.
all there.
It's all there. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we can quickly go through these. This on the left is part of still the Africa Explorer. And so every year, South Africa has their museum, the Museum of Modern, Contemporary Art and Culture. It's called MOCA. So every year they host their sort of like the one in New York, their big gala where, it's all about dressing up and coming and experiencing the art, of Africa. It's not just a South African museum, but it has art from all over Africa, art from all across the continent. So this year's Mocha Gala, we covered that. And they featured one of the top artists in the world. Her name is Otobong Nkanga. So she's on the very bottom of the page. Amazing artist. And so with the magazine, we want to make sure we're capturing all of these events as well. So this is called the Zeitz Mocha Annual Gala. And so we wanted to make sure we brought that out to showcase, some of the other cultural things. But this is South Africa, so we also wanted to make sure we're covering our other region, which is the southern part of Africa. Across the other page is the dynamic Mayor Yvonne Akisoya. And so that was a sit-down interview with Mayor Sawyer. And she is a mayor she's planted over 1 million trees
Wow.
in Freetown. She's the mayor of Freetown. And Mayor Sawyer is dynamo in heels, and just talking to her. So we also did this as a sit-down interview with her. But she talks all about why people should come to Freetown. She talks about the Creole background, the fact that she's also Creole, and the history of Freetown. This is truly where the first African Americans actually came to. So she speaks to that, in terms of the historical significance of South Africa. I'm sorry, of Freetown. And, that's where it gets the name. It's a reminder that this was the first place in Africa where freed slaves returned to. And this was in 1787. So we talked a lot about that. We talked about the food, the competition in Africa about jollof rice. And every West African country feels they have the best jollof rice, and so does Freetown, Sierra Leone. So we argued on that a bit, about
Yes,
Liberia having better jollof rice. And
yes.
but just absolutely lovely conversation and the work that she's doing in Freetown to push tourism. And also Freetown is just, like I said, it's absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
There you go, family, taking you around the world. And here we have
Yes.
another landscape.
Yes, that's also the lighthouse. Lighthouse.
And so Sierra Leone again. So we're exactly the local, well, it's in Freetown. So I guess is this anywhere close to the airport? Well,
Longueuil? No,
the airport is not exactly in Freetown, right?
no, 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 it's not.
Yes. All right. There you go.
But it's also interesting to even get from the airport to Freetown because you have to take a ferry,
Take a ferry.
across the
Yes.
water. The airport is on an island.
And
And now
more.
they also have a new airline that's also flying Freetown. It's called Air Sierra Leone. And so getting to Freetown is easy as well. It's right now it's going to London and it's doing Nigeria. And I believe they're now looking at how they can get into the US, but it's Air Sierra Leone. And so that's really a big deal for
Yes.
Sierra Leone.
Exactly, because West Africa has very limited airlines, and
Mhm.
most of the ones that was around, they're banned from flying to America,
Mhm.
unfortunately. But that's another story, family. But yes, it's something that that we have to grow in West Africa, modern aviation, elite aviation, just like how East Africa represent well, especially with the two elite airlines, E- Ethiopian Airlines and Kenya Airways. But yeah, that's what we have to do, So we have to keep working on a stronger family because we're still, representing. We're talking about the global African continent or the African world, but me and Hester Baker really represent, that wonderful energy in West Africa, you know. Uh, yeah, for myself, Senegal, Ghana, and other countries, Hester Baker, Liberia, Sierra Leone. But yes, we want to see West Africa rise. We feel like it's literally the most just open opportunity region in Africa. Like literally, family, if you're looking for open opportunity, that's where it's gonna be at. But we'll definitely keep on working on it. So that is more of Freetown. Let me see what you got next. All right, tropical paradise.
Senegal, I mean, on Seychelles. Now, this is paradise on earth.
Yes.
Seychelles is in the Indian Ocean, and getting there, you fly over the Sahara, and then you get into this place that looks like you're just, you literally stepped into paradise. And so we featured just different things about Seychelles in this issue. We, of course, the beach, is the beaches are iconic, are very iconic in terms of just the whiteness and the sand and the big boulders on the beach. You while you're standing on the beach, you see people make these massive sand castles. People just hanging out in Seychelles. It's a hanging out destination. But then a lot of luxury, because you also see a lot of the most luxurious real estate in Seychelles as well. And just the catamarans are all in the water. So people are just basically luxuriating in Seychelles. That's what it is. You go there just to bask, in the beauty of and the blueness of the water. I mean, it's something else. And I've spent some time in Seychelles as well, so I can speak from that. It's absolutely stunning. It's a stunning.
So there you go, family. And yes, we're still talking about Africa.
You will see signs for diving. Um, so you can also, get to be a part of some of the diving experiences because they have a lot of coral. Again, with that kind of water, you when you go on the water, you can imagine what's there. And so they do a lot with the coral. These turtles are so amazing. The Aldabra turtles, giant turtles, you find them at the garden. I mean, their botanical garden, and they're just walking around, the botanical garden, just there. These massive turtles, and very, very interesting. But again, Seychelles is what it is. It's one of those places. If you are a solo traveler, you get there, you will make a million friends. Um, Definitely, if you go by group, it's also very exciting because they have so many tour opportunities. I mean, they're continually taking groups, on to the other islands, the other islets and what have you. So it's one of those destinations that they're ready. They're ready for you. Just get there and Seychelles will eat you up. From the best foods, you want to sit on the water and just have, the best gourmet meals, you can do that in Seychelles. It's absolutely amazing.
There you go, family.
Down from Seychelles, of course, is Mauritius. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just letting people know that we're literally this showing them this all aspects of Africa. You have a lot covered in this magazine. I'm not sure how much
Yes.
we can cover, but I definitely do also
So
want
we
to
can
make
cover
sure.
all of it. Yeah, but a lot is a lot. Yeah, lots going on. And Seychelles is East Africa, by the way. Yeah.
And this is an island family, so you're talking about islands in the western part of Africa and the eastern part of Africa.
Mhm. And
And
then the next story, we can kind of just run through it. We don't have to get too much into it. This was a sit-down interview with two of Africa's biggest, most iconic actors, Desmond Elliott and Richard Mofe-Damijo. And it was so interesting because Richard Damijo has been at the helm of tourism also in Nigeria, but he's also one of the most popular actors. If not, he's definitely in the top five, in Nigeria. So is Desmond. So it was really nice to sit down with them and just talk about Africa travel, and they were able to tell us some of their favorite things to do. We talked a lot about Nigeria, of course, in terms of what to do in Nigeria. So they did give us their destinations that people should definitely go to. With Desmond Elliott, when we talked about Africa, we said, well, where do you go for romance? He said, Zanzibar. We said, where do you
Zanzibar.
shop? Zanzibar, he said, for romance. For him, that's the most romantic place.
Yes, it is. On my way there in November. Looking forward to it with my group.
Okay. For shopping, he said South Africa. For culture, he said Nigeria. And for adventure, he's, of course, Nigeria. And then RMD, he said for romance, Botswana. And for shopping, Lagos, culture, Lagos. And he said adventure, Kenya. So quite interesting,
Yeah,
hearing
yeah,
from
yeah, he definitely made sure he threw in Nigeria many different times over. But when we think about the world of Africa travel and tourism, uh, like when I look at groups and even when people question me about, what country is on the schedule, uh, from my point of view, Nigeria is not a big tourism. I mean, maybe people go there for other things, but I don't see a lot of Nigeria schedule, and I have never created one, and probably never will. But that's another story because we're
them.
selective on where we kind of do our program, and it just has to be the right vibe and energy. And not saying that it's not, but for some people it may be. But I don't see a lot of Nigerian tour schedules out there.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure why, but maybe because, a lot of times it's unfortunate because you have so much stereotypes and bad publicity where people just end up just not being open to certain things. But yeah, it'll be ideal if we see more marketing from Nigeria from the tourism
yeah,
standpoint. And then, when you talk about tourism have to be this, you have to like guarantee the safety of it. Come originally from Jamaica and they don't play around. They spend a lot to make sure the tourism is intact and kind of guaranteeing you safety. They're telling you like no matter what goes on in the rest of the island, we're gonna make sure that you enjoy your tourism destination on the north coast of the country. But yeah, I would love to see more, more dynamic image and information on tourism in Nigeria because he's basically representing and saying that it's ideal, but then some of us don't really see that.
right, right. And I tell you what, I understand they have a new minister of tourism and that she's dynamic and that she's a Pan-Africanist and that she believes that the continent needs to market. And of course, that Nigeria needs to market. But I tell you, my 2 trips to Nigeria, and I'm heading there again in November, were amazing. Ah, Nigeria. Nigeria needs to do better. They need to market Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Abuja, I kept asking the same question. I'm like, and why you're not marketing this? Because Abuja landscape is stunning. Ah, I mean, so I was in shock. And of course, they're very, very ultra modern in everything. I mean, they're not behind, not one step. I mean, their communities Nigerians are competitive people. So if you build a beautiful home, the man next door feels his home must be 2 times more beautiful or bigger. So
Wow.
they have this thing going, right? So because of that, everywhere you look, you see just amazing real estate and what have you. Lagos, on the other hand, is also interesting because Lagos has 2 sides to it. You have the crazy Lagos, which is just so overpopulated and just like your market ground where you feel like it's like you see a million people. It's like what's going on? So many human beings, and they sell everything known to man in the marketplace. But then they have the other side that is all luxury, where you have the yachts on the water and you again it's Victoria Island, you have Banana Island. So Nigeria has so many different parts to it. So I think they need to let the world know what they have. I think they're not selling Nigeria. But Nigeria is a hidden secret. Can you imagine as loud as Nigerians are? Sorry to say, my Nigerian brothers and sisters, but Nigerians will tell you in a New York minute, I am not Nigeria. Nigeria is this, Nigeria is that. Then to see how they're not marketing their country for tourism, it's mind boggling.
Here you go, family. Esther Baker taking you around the African continent.
Okay, next we go to Rwanda. And then we can end maybe on Freetown, on the Freetown spread.
All right, so
Okay, so
back here where we are right here with
yeah, so there is, so if you come back, if you come back. Um, no, no, there. So Chef Duval Malonga, one of the most exciting interviews we've had. Chef Malonga is actually listed as one of the top, I think, 5 chefs on the continent of Africa. He's very, very young. But this guy, huh? When you talk about Pan-Africanism, he blew us away. He traveled to 48 countries in Africa, testing out all of their cuisine to develop his menu. And his menu is taken from all 48 countries. Then he went into your region of the world, into the Caribbean, to get spices and all and what have you.
There you
And
go.
he brought those things, he brought them back and planted a massive farm, that is now where he gets all of his spices and herbs and whatever that he uses in his dishes. His dining experience, he was in Kigali, but he now, I think, recently moved right outside of Kigali to establish almost like a school. Plus, it's more like a tourist destination. It's on the water, according to him, but the restaurant is there, the farm is there, and it's all this experience, and it's all gourmet, but it's our traditional African cuisine from 48 different countries. So I asked him, I said, okay, from Liberia, what did you do? He said, I took your cassava leaf. And I'm thinking cassava leaf is not gourmet, but he turned it gourmet,
That's what I'm
you know?
talking
So
about. That's what I'm talking about. And on that, absolutely. So, family, you're being introduced into an incredible world. So, we're gonna keep on sharing more information with Hester Baker, and then definitely share her contacts and how you can get access to this magazine also. Right. So, let me hit the next page. And family, we're still here with Hester Baker, and we are taking you around the African continent.
yep, that's
Sim,
still Chef Rwanda.
all
Yeah,
right.
that's Rwanda.
And that's him right there, getting his organic growing on. That's what I'm talking about, brother. Represent.
Yes, yes. He was also listed in Forbes 30 under 30.
There you go. So, family, a lot of incredible people that we just, that Hester Baker with this incredible magazine is connecting you to. So, we're going to definitely share how you can subscribe and you can connect to the magazine and share it with your family and get them involved in, getting their copies.
Yeah, so now we're in the cover story. So that's our cover story. So if you go back, um, that the first 2 pages, that's at what they call the lighthouse. So the lighthouse, of course, is one of the ancient marks in Sierra Leone. So wanted to shoot the lighthouse is behind there, but the rocks, oh my God, this place, it's like just like an, I don't know how to describe it. It's like an ocean of rocks, you know? And and so we could not get we still weren't able to capture it all because there's so much. And the models again showing fashion, so we were, so local fashion designers in Sierra Leone and are the ones that are featured here. So I believe I'm not sure which one of the designers, but we had some really really amazing designers, and so just Lucy, the 2 models. One is Lucy and the other one is Lucinda rather. So I believe that design came from a lady named Jenny Bengali, and she has a line called Swank Couture. So that's at
This,
the lighthouse. The next page is what they call Pademba Road. So this place is where the Creole people first lived when they went to Freetown. So if you go back, you see the old like stone building. Um, that street is where this has so many stories because that's where they used to stand and yell across the street in their Creole, talking to each other. But these were people from the African American roots again. This is what so all of this street had people that were pretty much from that African American heritage, the Creole people. And this is where they lived. On the opposite page is quite interesting because this is uphill. This is called Hill Station. And the colonial masters, this is where they lived. So the Sierra Leoneans live downhill, and the people that controlled the colonial during the colonial times, they lived uphill. So this is like one of the homes. And so when you do go up there, you see nothing but mansions. These framed, old framed mansions that, once were owned by colonial people that, the colonial masters that ran Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone was a British colony. And so you have so this page just shows the contrast where the everyday people live and where the colonial leaders lived. Okay. The next page, interesting. This page is what she's wearing is what you call the kabaslot. So again, this kabaslot is part of that whole British influence in Sierra Leone. So you know how the British women wore those huge gowns, those big gowns and what have you. The women in the Creole women, they transformed it into their own style of clothing, and they call it the kabaslot. Okay, so the kabaslot, even for Liberia, my mother, I remember her wearing the kabaslot as a child. But the lady who's really transforming, so the Kaba slot used to be very boring. I always thought it was just this funny looking dress. I hated them. But her name is Frederica Williams. So Frederica has decided to transform the Kaba slot into something more modern. So even if you look on the page before at Lucinda, it is wearing. And so the dress are hills and valleys and what have you. And this shot was shot, to show. It's called G Gate, where you can also see the ocean backdrop and what have you. But we're trying to capture the hilliness of Freetown. I'm not quite sure if we did that, but we tried. The next page is Tamakula Market. Lucinda, she's wearing something again from Jenny. And that is, I mean, that's Lucy. And that is the bottom part is where you do all the shopping for fish. So you go right down there and you can haggle with the people for fish. On the next page is actually on the boat at Tamakula Market. And so that outfit was made by Marie Carroll. And it's a tie-dye. She does these amazing
Right.
tie-dye outfits. And across is, again, the Kaba Slot, but in a short set. And that again is Frederica Williams. And we shot this at the big market where you can buy all the fruits. You buy everything from clothes to food to everything at the big market in Freetown. So so that's what it is. And then Lumley Beach is on the next page. Lumley Beach is like a boardwalk with just restaurants. It just from the top to the bottom, and it goes all the way up the hill, just restaurant after restaurant after restaurant, all on the beach. And across on the other side of the street are the hotels. So this is just a massive boardwalk. You see people playing football on the beach, soccer, but beautiful, really, really nice restaurants where you can get the best drinks and food and what have you, but it's all lined up, just a long street just with, dining options. The next page is a restaurant called The Lore. The Lore is a very nice, beautiful gourmet restaurant. And the view at the Lore is just spectacular. So we have a guy named Pa Musa who uses brushed cotton. He makes his own fabric out of brushed cotton. So the red dress and the green outfits by the models are from Pa Musa. Again, showing the artistic abilities of their designers, and this again, both one is on the outside of the Lore, the other on the inside of the Lore. And the model in the red, Lucinda, is the former Miss Sierra Leone and just a dynamic young lady. Adeline, her name is Adeline Bangura. And that's it.
Yeah, these are
And then
true
I think we
fashion
can give,
designers. Oh, go ahead.
yeah.
Because you
Yeah, I
you
mean, our designers are just amazing. The first one, I just love her to death, Marie Carroll. She's the one who helped to organize the entire fashion side of the editorial on Freetown. So she's the next page, Marie Carroll. She did the tie-dye outfit and she's wearing it one herself. Then you have Pamusa. We call him Pamusa. His name is Musa Sensei. He's on the next page. And they're doing so well. I love how they work together. They're doing London Fashion Week and different fashion weeks and what have you. But he did that red. and the flowing outfits at the Law restaurant. And Frederica, man, when you listen to Frederica talk about the Kaba it will make you stop and just listen because it what she's doing is basically telling the Freetown story in clothing, and so what she's making is she's literally taking an age-old tradition and transforming it, and she's gotten some pushback, from the older generation who do not want to see the cover slot changed. But she is, bringing it into the modern age and just doing tremendous things with it. And this next lady, oh my God, this is Jenim Bangali. First off, when you turn the page, there's Jenim, just the most beautiful designer. And I want to ask you, how old do you think she is? Just how old is she?
I don't know, about 25. I
Jenny
don't
is, I think, 63. She's,
how.
I think, 63 or
No,
64, somewhere in there.
I would probably say in our 30s, but because I don't
She
see.
gets it.
I guess you do. I guess you may say a little older if you look more into it, but not nowhere near 60s.
She's around 63, 64. And without a stitch of makeup, I said, "You're what?" I mean, we were all screaming. We couldn't believe her age.
Yeah.
But an amazing designer. She has a design called Swine Couture. So the cover fashion is actually from Jen and from her. She made the cover fashion. Amazing people. Just amazing people. And then the next page, I think we can end on this story
And I'll just
because
flip
we
through.
can't just
We're
go for the entire magazine.
we're almost there
Yeah,
to the
this
end, so might as
one.
well flip through it all. But yeah,
Okay. This one is this one is a little interesting story. Beyond interesting, it's heart-wrenching because I think I cried throughout this interview. So this story, you see the ship on the bottom. That ship is called the L'Aurore. And these are African American divers that are diving the transatlantic slave trade.
wow.
And what they're doing is they're diving the side of the slave trade that people don't talk about. They're diving the vessels that sank, that didn't make it across the water. And this vessel is actually the L'Aurore, which is off the shore of Mozambique. And if I hope I'm saying this right, but this particular vessel, I think, came out of France, came onto the African continent, went into, I believe, Cape Town, took some slaves out of Cape Town on his way to America, and stopped in Mozambique to gather more slaves. And while the ship was in dock, there became a terrible storm. And what I believe they had done is and I believe it's this ship. I don't want to mix it up, but I believe it's the L'Aurore. But the slaves were all in chains. The men were in chains on the bottom of the ship, and they wouldn't free them. And the ship began to rock badly because of the storm. And the ship sank with all of those men on board. And everybody else that were on top got off the ship. And these stories are being, these divers are diving these stories across the continent of Africa. And and the person we interviewed is Kamal Siddiqui. And Kamal is on the next page. He's touching the outside of the ship. He said when they went down and he touched no, sorry, no, go back. Yes, go back. On the opposite, yeah, on that opposite page, the little box is where Kamal was actually touching the ship. And according to him, when he put his hand on when he touched the ship, he said his entire body practically began to convulse. He said he began crying. He said it's almost as though he could feel the pain of those people that had died with this ship sinking. And when he tells the story, he says that's what their mission is to go and to find these ships and to get the stories behind them. But what he did that was so beautiful is in Mozambique, they have also trained a lot of the young people to also be divers. So now the young people in Mozambique are also diving. So if people go to Mozambique, let's say if you took a group to Mozambique and they actually wanted to dive to go to this ship, you have young divers that can escort them to this ship. But he came to Liberia because he was also doing an interview with families of another ship that had also that sank um, off the coast of it's somewhere in North America, well near the whole Golden Jekyll Island, that whole southern South Carolina belt. There was a ship that sank, and similar situation. They were taking those slaves, I believe, into uh, near Florida. I forget the name of the area, but apparently when they got to they hit something, and there was the ship began to sink, and they came in and began to steal some of the slaves off the ship, and they took some of the slaves into Cuba. And some of the slaves that they were able to free, they took them into Georgia, into Georgia. And then the ship sank with the rest of the slaves. The remaining people that were taken into Georgia, they put them onto a plantation. And you know the history of Liberia, being in 1822, a place where freed blacks came and settled. So being that Liberia was that country that had freed blacks, they began discussing what they would do with these slaves that they had taken off this ship. And they said, well, you do have that one country in Africa that is accepting freed blacks. So let's take them there. So if you go back, Bomani, a couple of pages, no, um, go in front, in front
Oh,
again.
yeah, it's just these two pages with
Yeah,
the
you see the guy. So that's Kamal and one of these heirs of one of the people taken off that ship that sank near Georgia. And those people, they brought them into Liberia and they set up an area called New Georgia because that was what they knew. They came from Georgia. And so they came back to Liberia and set up New Georgia. And so that guy, his name is Horatio Gould, and that's one of the families that was rescued off that ship. But if you look at the quote, Kamal said, I heard their screams in my body and
wow.
in my head. He recalls, I was brought to tears underwater. It's a chilling experience, the entire um, what the work that they're doing. It's quite interesting. And of course, his interview was done by Chrislyn Leroy. She did a lot of the interviews for Africa Travel and Life. She's an anthropologist, and so she was the best one to do this interview. So the next page is Chrislyn and Kamal, Liberia.
No, I guess that's it, right?
Mozambique, and the fact that people should go to Mozambique, he says, is for him, it is the most beautiful place in Africa. So he says his number one destination is Mozambique. But a very interesting story. And then we have what we call the guide, which is the back of the magazine. And so the guide, we went into Algiers. Again, another amazing destination. We're actually going into Algeria for the next issue. We'll be shooting our cover story from an area in Algeria called Janet, which is the desert. But for this issue, again, North Africa, we wanted to feature a place, in every issue. We take you inside that destination to tell you the best bets, when you go, the things you must do, from the museums to the parks and so on and so forth. So in this issue, we featured all of that, the Martyrs Memorial. Of course, Algeria is known for its Casbahs, where you can go and shop and eat and all that. It's considered the white city. It's a very white city on the water. It sits on the Mediterranean. So a lot of Mediterranean food. If you like dates, the Algerian dates, I think, is probably the best in the world. But lots of Mediterranean food. Shopping, of course, if you're looking at just, beautiful things like the oud, the burners, scents for your home. Of course, I love their style of clothing. People tell me I like to wear flowy, flowy. But, Algeria is also amazing. So we want, so this section takes you into a destination. And, we gave you the tips, the day trips and all that. And then the last page is what we call the last look. So the last look for this issue was Ghana. So we went into Ghana on the very last page and took you to Fort William in Ghana. This one it was built in 1753. So it's also a very old fort. Most people know, to go to Elmina.
Elmina and
But
Cape Coast
yes, yes, yes.
in the central
But we
region of
wanted,
Ghana.
yes, yes. But this is, so this was the premiere issue. The next issue is coming up, and we want subscribers. We survive with subscribers and advertising. So Lesotho is our back cover, of course. We heard about Lesotho recently in politics. But Lesotho is also in South Africa, beautiful place.
Yeah, that's another country where yeah, it's amazing how many countries that you have talked about where if you just mention these names and you just reached out to 100 just random black people across America, um, they'll be like, "Where's that at?" And so on. But nevertheless, that's what we're here to do, family. We're here to educate you. But yes, Lesotho is inside of actual South Africa or Azania. So, and it's more in the mountains. And because when I'm in South Africa, we usually take everyone to the Lesedi Cultural Village so people can learn about the different cultures of Southern Africa. So that's always amazing. And they talk about the Basotho people. So, and then of course, you know me, I don't stop recording, so I got a whole bunch of videos on, on that culture. But yes, family, let me show you where to connect with Miss Hesta Baker on Travel and Life Africa. This is your world connection to the African continent, and she literally went around the entire African continent and highlighted some incredible countries and the culture, and it never stops. So this is the website, Africa Travel and life.com. And then as soon as you get to the website, you have a subscribe now button there. And I guess they can pay for their subscription and order their copies,
Yeah, you can
digital.
anywhere in the world. It doesn't matter where you are. We deliver to anywhere in the world. Yeah.
And that's what we talk about, family. We want you to connect with the culture. And I'll be working on my own marketing share of this with all of my different groups because you have sent me all of the links. So I'll be working to get that out. And also, this is your Facebook page. Let me close
So if
these
you scroll down on the
spots.
page a bit, you will see that's the Facebook page. Yeah. Um,
So that's facebook.com forward
mhm,
slash Africa Travel and Life.
mhm.
And
And we say basically what we're saying is put Africa on your coffee table, you know? Let Africa be your coffee table. Put it on your coffee table. If you go to the website, the stories are very different on the website. So we really, um, if you were to scroll to the website, you will find that it's a whole different world on the website. The top stories, so if you scroll down, if you go down, I mean, you can, yeah, it's, da, da, da. Yeah, so we have a section called In the Know. That story is about the Gambia. The other one is about an artist, Tande when, this is about Egypt. But we take you all, that's Ubud Mountains in Nigeria. We go into Marrakesh, we go into Benin, of course, Goree Island. So we take you around the continent on the website. Yeah. so many different stories, itineraries. For people like you, Bomani, we want your itinerary so we can do stories on that on the website.
Oh yes, I
Uh,
definitely have to connect with you, and this is the most we have to talk about the magazine, and then there's a YouTube link. So that's why I have everything just being shared in screen sharing mode. So the links are there visually, and then we can always put those things in the description and continue to share.
yes.
So that's the magazine and the Facebook page family. And also I had one other thing for you, and this flyer
Yeah,
should
it's a
be.
special thing that we have going on right now. So for travel agents and tour operators, it's really inexpensive. So basically, we're saying only 300 bucks, and we want to market. We want to market you because we really, our mission is, yeah, we want money. We like money. We love money. But more importantly, we want to make sure that we are making it so affordable that anybody can be able to get out there and put their word out. We feel that the rates currently available in the market for Africa to advertise is so exorbitant, it's prohibitive. So we're trying to create the opportunities that will. Our mission is simple. We want to change the dynamics of Africa's economy through tourism. We believe that if we can get people coming to the continent, that can transform Africa. Africa, imagine in 2025, only gets 2% of global tourism earnings. That's not good. So our mission is how we can impact that. So anyway, so that section is the travel guide that we're doing. And so we're saying join us on the travel guide if you're an operator, if you're a travel agent, and we'll do something amazing with you. So that's what that is. But thank you so much, Bomani, for sharing the information. And even you, we want your story in this issue of the magazine. So of course, we have tons of questions for you too,
Yes, we
in
can
terms of,
definitely we can definitely always even continue to talk and we're and talk more in depth on other other times and this and put something together directly interactive to what you have also in the magazine and
okay.
a lot of
Because
things.
what we'd like from you, Bomani, is we want to understand, you know, um, things like what inspired you to do what you do. We want to understand the spirit behind, just the name of what you have, Africa for Africans. We want to know where your journeys have been, we want to know your favorite places,
Oh
we want to
yes,
know
and we can
who's.
even continue to talk about that and even expand on it next time more so in detail. But Africa for the Africans in general is an inspiration from Marcus Garvey, who took a bold approach as as a visionary of us as a people, doing the same thing that other great nations of people aspire to do, which is to build a future for their children, build a future for themselves, and build a future to where they represent the dominance of the world. And so that's why Africa for the Africans is very significant. And, we as Black people, we represent every single geographical part of the entire world. But then we have one thing in common, our African continent. So Africa for the Africans, the focus is getting us connected to the African continent and open us as a people to learning about business and investment and working together with our own brothers and sisters and making Africa an integral part of the rest of the Black world where many of us or some of us come from and keeping that ancestral connection. So we journey to interesting historical cultural part of the entire African continent, and you can only go through so much country. So the countries that are very selective, like the history of the 6 countries in West Africa, which represent half of the 12 countries I've been on the continent, and that is Ghana, Liberia, Senegal, Gambia, Togo, Benin, and then in Southern Africa, South Africa, and then we make our move over to East Africa, and that's Ethiopia, Kenya, Tanzania. So those represent 10 countries, and then in the northern part of Africa, Morocco and Egypt. And so that gives you kind of, when someone is looking around the map, that takes you around the continent. But I know that is the geographical around the continent. And then we have other countries in other parts of the region. And the goal is to try to get to some more countries, but it's not always our focus to this because we have other things in life to do also, and we can't build certain things by just traveling around the whole continent. We're trying to establish relationships. So some countries we've spent a lot of time into. So Ghana, I've been there 25 times. We've done
Wow.
39 journeys on the Africa for Africans, and Ghana represent 25 of those journeys. Uh,
Mhm.
Tanzania represent four, and South Africa represent three of those journeys. So it's something that we keep on working towards and just building the program. And it just takes a long time because you tell people you also have your career, you have your family, you have other things you're working on. But over the 21 straight years, I've traveled to Africa consistently. We've showcased and recorded all of the documentation as much as possible in the first beginning years. But the recent journeys, especially within the last I would say from 2011 to 2025, like represent 14 years of nonstop travel and 14 years of nonstop recordings, and even COVID-19 or whatever else was going on in the world between 2011 and 2025 didn't stop us. As a matter of fact, we did more travel consistently during the COVID era than ever. Because I was letting people know that when we have a
Wow.
vision to connect and build, we can't let anything stop us. And then when we look at
Mhm.
investments in the world, we can't see that our African continent have more investors from other nations of people than us. So it's important we educate people as far as showcasing the beauty and the history of the country, and also just opening our more for us to processing and thinking about investment, and that's is not something that could just happen quick or overnight. So a lot of times you have to show people the beauty of a country and let them experience it and showcase those documentation to other people so they're more open. So far we're building energy strong, and I've used my time, talents, and energy to work with many different people, especially those who want to work together. And the only thing I ever tell them is that, if they want to see more things happen, they have to be willing to put the work in because all things are possible with serious dedication and serious sacrifice. And it's just all about what you want to achieve. So getting ready for the next few years, and we're just going to keep on doing it stronger. And then the definite goal is to focus on our Black Star Pan-African community development in Ghana. And just we're going to keep on building and keep on building. And so we have our website, social pages. My phone number is always available for anybody who ever want to reach out to me. I tell people my number is public. So if you call me, make sure you're serious about what you're calling me about. Other than that, tell people this, be mindful and respectful of our time. But you have all of the free information online on all of these pages, all aspects of videos, pictures, and information. We have tour and travel books that are free download PDF right there on our website. And then if you're ready to talk with us about anything serious about joining any of our programs or doing any kind of business with us, I'm always available. You can always call, text, email me, and I will always respond and communicate.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bonnie. And I'll be reaching back to you because like I said, we want to, at least one of the experiences we'd like to feature. But we'll talk offline on that.
Oh yes, absolutely. And I'm just flipping through the social pages. I just showed people it's so and then the most popular thing is just YouTube. It's tons of videos. It's almost 5,000 videos. And once you click on videos, you'll see just the timeline of videos. But on the
Mhm.
home page, what you see uh, is our multiple playlists of all of our groups.
Wow.
And so that's the last few, the last set of our group travels in. I usually put the our Africa for Africans t-shirt as one of the cover photos. So you'll see every few months we're somewhere in Africa with a group, big, small, medium, just a group. And so working on the next set of program and the next journey we're traveling to is Tanzania, November 20th to December 1st, and it is 30 of us, just like 30 of us was in Ghana for May 2025. So
Nice.
it's difficult to get one person to come to go anywhere with you, much less having this group. So that's the kind of work we're put in over the period of time to where people reach out to us and join us. So looking forward to since we're closing out in Tanzania, looking forward to seeing who's open to the future of 2026 and 2027, which is only half of the 2027 schedule. But all full schedules and upcoming schedules are always updated on our website because we believe in organization and planning things out ahead of time so people could be clear, be prepared, and ready. And just want people to understand the details are available for you to take your time and read through it. And you may say it's a lot of information, but we don't just throw up this basic information. We have in detail overview, itinerary, and preparation details. And so once you click on any of the links on the website, you know, it will give you a full list of articles of all of the things that you need to be clear on before you even commit to traveling with us, because we want to make sure that you're clear and understand you're making a commitment that is a serious business, and we want you to be clear. So at least we have all of our upfront information where even if you don't ever talk to us, you have it there, and then when you decide, you can reach out. So yes,
Mhm.
let me stop with the screen sharing, and
Okay.
now I'll make sure I put some of these links. Yes, my sister, that was beautiful. Appreciate you sharing the
Wow. Thank
magazine.
you. Thank you so much. It was amazing, amazing, amazing. So what I want to do is, just reach out to you. And one of the experiences, I think Tanzania, I'd like to do a feature on just one of your Tanzania experiences.
Well, the next
So
one's
in
coming up,
terms
so
of, huh?
the next one is coming up, so I'll be able to share a whole lot with you, especially when I get back.
No, I'm not waiting for your next one. We want one of the ones that you've done before.
Okay.
So just some photos, photos of people. The reason we're trying to do this, introduce this, is to get people inspired. One of the things that we find about Africa, and you already know that, people are afraid to come. They think it's not safe. So it's really important. Yeah, people think that the entire continent is at war and something's going on. The narratives out there are really, really bad. So it would be good to show humans, people, especially to show African Americans actually having fun. So I really would like to do that. And we'll call that itineraries. Okay, that's a section that we wanted to add for the last issue and we didn't. We still want to add it. It's on the website. On the website, we say itineraries. So we'd like to do that. Take one of your itineraries and just, some photos from it and just basically what you do, what happens on that journey and get some quotes from people that went, and what they can say about that journey. And then a little bit about, Africa for Africans. So I might be able to pull it together just by going on the site. So I'll do that. But I want for you to pick the one that you really like, and then we'll feature that. Fair
Yes,
enough?
I can always absolutely know me. I can always have all my information, all the things whether it's on the website, but also the things I have on this computer that's always ready to be sent out and shared. I
So,
guess all people we are always ready and ready to present, share, and have direct access to a lot of information. But yes, my newest itinerary is incredible. I would definitely share the newest itinerary, and even if I have to share some of the older group photos, because what we have is just a lot of group photos, and the new itinerary is directly in line with that because we, based on the four times we've traveled to Tanzania, you kind of the fifth time came around to where the goal was to show the best of everything, the best hotels that we experienced, the best of every single movements. So that this itinerary represent that, especially since we have so much people, we wanted to show them the best of everything and just kind of took it to a whole different level. But that is my second most popular country uh, in uh, uh, Africa as far as travel. So it's like Ghana, Tanzania, South Africa, at 1, 2, 3. Representing three different regions. So yes, family, that's Pan-Africanism towards nationhood. This is Bomani Tyehimba and Hesta Baker. So family, we have a whole lot more to share with you. And as time go along, me and Hesta Baker is going to be connecting and we're going to be this working together to this really connecting you to an incredible world of the African continent. So That way you have positive and updated information and direct information about Africa itself, and you can hear it from the source of people who have experienced the African continent. So, family, on that note, the journey continues. And family, as we talk about the journey continues, let's give you a final beautiful screen sharing of our future upcoming schedule. And all the information is right there on our website. Check it out, reach out to me directly, and we'll get you connected. Looking forward to talking with everyone. The journey continues, family.